Hey, how is everybody? Good? Cool. Tell you about me, my story. I'm originally from the Dominican Republic. Oh, cool, yeah. Cool, thank you. Yeah, I didn't think y'all be, all right, whatever. Anyways. It's, if you don't know much about it, it's a beautiful, beautiful culture, you know, dancing, music, food, the people. But we also can't deny that there is a lot of racism, colorism in the culture. Something that I grew up with, just believing that white is right, which means anything associated with black is wrong or frowned upon. And unfortunately, I grew up with those ideas because I was just able to hang out with my immediate family. And it wasn't until I moved out of the house at 18, started walking my own journey, I decided, you know what? I'm hanging out with different people. I want to change my mindset. I want to change just everything about how I grew up. Took a while. I really didn't start this journey until my mid-20s when I found myself in a library. And I was like, you know what? I haven't really ever read a book. Let me read something. Let me try to educate myself. And if there's a word that I don't know, I'll just Google it. And I was walking around, and this book just stood out to me because I recognized the person on the cover. And when I examined it a little closer, it was Nelson Mandela. And it was the book A Long Walk to Freedom. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this home, and I'm gonna get educated by this. And I opened it up, and the first word was apartheid. And I was like, what the hell is apartheid? I was like, yo, this is going to be a long walk to freedom indeed. It's a 500-page book. I'm stuck on word one. All right. But I got through it, and I started devouring books. And the more I started devouring books and people's experience and activism and radicalism and all that, the more I started to, shed the tools that no longer serve me and started to become more comfortable in my skin and get rid of all that self-hatred. And my inside changes was accompanied by outside changes. I started changing my look. And the biggest thing was, my hair. I always had a buzz cut, a number one. Anybody from the hood knows just... You go to the barber, let me get a number one. He goes like, bzz, bzz, $20. But I was like, I let my hair grow. I was like a fro, this huge fro. And it felt like my fro was like an extension of all the knowledge I had gathered, right? And it was cool. And that was a very radical thing for me to do because from the Dominican Republic, my family always told me I had hair that was called greña. Greña is a very derogatory name for coarse hair, And I was learning all these things about me, and I hadn't gotten home really very often. I definitely hadn't gotten home since my newfound wisdom that I decided, you know what, I haven't been home in a few years. Let me go and see what's up. And I went, and it was my mom's house. My sister lives there with my niece and nephew. And as soon as I opened the door, the look of horror from my family's face of how I looked was just undeniable. My sister was like, what you doing with that greña? My mom, not a lot of outward criticism, but a lot of microaggression that you like, ugh. I was supposed to be there for 3 days, and it was just, I just felt all that tension, that hatred, and I just frustrated the whole time. But the only thing that was very, calmed me was my niece and my nephew. They were 6 and 10 at the time, and they were asking me a lot of questions about my hair and, what I like to read and what Philadelphia was like and all this stuff. And the last day I was there, man, my mom and sister really went in on me, just berating me nonstop to the point where I snapped. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Why do you believe all this nonsense that white supremacy has fed you? Why do you hate yourself, your skin color, your hair? You are not these people that they tell you you are. You are beautiful and you are worth so much more. Who the fuck you think you are? This is what my sister said to me. I was like, I'm out of here. 10 hours till my flight had to leave, and I was like, I'm out of here. I left, and I felt so bad because I had this outburst in front of my niece and my nephew. And I just left, and I didn't talk to them for years. And I thought that's how it was going to be. I was like, I'm never going to talk to my sister, my mother again. That's how it was going to be. And then there was a death in the family, and that always happens. When there's a death in the family, it makes you really think everything's like, oh, man, maybe we should try and talk. And I had to go back to my mother's house for the funeral. It was my grandmother who had passed. And when I got there, I was going there with my guards up. I was like, yo, I'm going to get it, and I know I got to defend myself. And as soon as I opened that door, my mother was like, mijo! Hug. My sister was like, my little brother, what's up? And I was like, what the fuck is this? And it was weird. It was actually very kind, and they immediately apologized to me for what happened. They wanted to know more about what I've learned and what I've been through and how I changed. And I was just had to ask, like, whoa, where did this come from? Because this is very different from the last time we spoke. And they were like, you know your niece and your nephew? When you were in that room defending your rights, your morals, people of color, trans people, everything, your sister and I weren't listening, but your niece and nephew were. And when you left, at 6 to 10, they started calling us out on all of our BS. All of our racism. Yeah, a 6 and a 10-year-old. Yeah. And they were relentless, man. And they were like, my sister and my mom were like, it was them who made us realize what we were thinking, what we were doing wasn't right. And that's the moment I realized that you have to speak up. You have to, every chance you get, you have to speak up for equality and people of color and marginalized people. And sometimes you think in this world, nobody's listening, man, nobody's listening, but you never know who's listening. Those kids picked up the torch, man, who knows how many more people they've inspired. I might have given them something, but they gave me a lot more than I expected that day. And all of us should do the same. All of us need to speak up because the time is now. Thank you.